dwelling on. You probably think you're the only one who has that problem or does that one thing all the time, but you're not the only one at all. Everyone has done whatever it is that you're ashamed of. Everybody has, and everyone has felt ashamed for it and embarrassed, like 1,000%. That's one of the biggest problems with, I think, being an INFP is because we're so sensitive, we'll feel things so deeply all the time, and we'll really think that like all of this depth and like emotion that we're feeling is we're the only ones feeling it, and that's not true at all. I think a lot of times we're the first ones to be willing to admit it or being willing to identify it, but so people might be caught off guard when we say it, and they might not be thinking very in depth about what we mean by what we say when we express that we feel ashamed about a particular thing that we did or experienced. And I think they'll sometimes maybe disregard what we're saying because they don't totally even realize themselves that they feel ashamed of it. Like, I 1,000% believe all of the shameful experiences, all the bad habits, ugly parts of ourselves that we have, everybody else has too and has felt ashamed about too. But I think that you have to let go of them. You have to let go of them, and you have to forgive them. And you have to accept the bad habits that are in your life right now. I definitely feel like I have a ton of bad habits that I just wish weren't there, you know. I just like to go into self-perfecting mode. I love to just, you know, go back to that loop. You know, there's my emotions and fear. Oh my gosh, I'm terrible. I'm realizing how terrible I am. And then how can I fix it? Here are some ideas, and ruminating on it and kind of going on this exploratory trail for like 24 hours, no sleep, no food. And I'm like, I'm so hungry and I'm so tired and I'm so messed up and I can't ever fix myself. Some more emotion and fear. And then I feed myself and then I go into this loop again, right? And this is just like endless insanity, and you're never going to figure out your problems all in one moment. We have to accept ourselves as we are, accept our mistakes as we are, and share those with other people blatantly and unashamedly. Something I wrote down here is, your bad habits and your past are only shameful if you make them. So if you say to people, yeah, I, you know, did this thing, I did this horrible thing, I cheated on my boyfriend, for example. I don't think that's something an INFP usually would do, and I haven't done that ever before. But if, like, you were just like, yep, that happened and I was immature and I made some stupid mistakes and I think I have some issues. I think I still have a lot of those issues and I'm trying to figure it out. That's a lot more respectable, and like, if you're not going to be ashamed of it, then it isn't really shameful to other people all of a sudden. They don't really care as much. I mean, of course, they might have their own moral opinions on that, but that's caring what other people think, and we're going to get into that soon. So, yeah, let yourself learn through living, be okay, and just accept your bad habits, accept the past mistakes, accept the patterns that you've seen in yourself that you're not pleased with. All right, moving on to 3. So, boom, boom, boom. Wow. Gently guide yourself away from self-judgment. Boom. Gently guide yourself away from self-judgment. Okay, so I'm so bad at this camera thing. All right, so gently guide yourself away from self-judgment. So no more, all right, these are important, guys. These are freaking important. You're probably asking me, what the heck is self-judgment? I honestly didn't know what that was for a long time, and I know people have always said, you know, you can't love anybody until you really learn how to love yourself. And you're like, all right, thanks, hippie Joe, appreciate the advice. Like, I'm gonna go do something else now, right? Like, I don't know what that means, but self-forgiveness, forgiving the past, what I just talked about, and self-judgment is another thing that is real. And I think one way that I know INFPs really do that is I call it you got a case of the shoulds, when you're telling yourself, I should be doing this differently, I should be doing that differently, I should have done that differently. Don't live there. That's a bad place to live. Just get rid of the should vocabulary. You could probably look up a whole bunch of psychological articles about getting rid of the inner critic and like the shoulds and all of that. But that's the one I wanted to focus on, but the two things that I wanted to bring up under this point is no more replaying past occurrences of how you messed up in a situation, no more projecting future fantasies of you fixing your past and present mistakes, and yeah, those two things, just stop doing those. If you can discipline yourself every time you're in a social situation and you say something and you're like, oh my gosh, this reminds me of that time when I came home with that piece of art and I tried to show it to everybody, and then they all thought it looked really weird and yellow. I don't know, I'm totally making up a weird example right now, but I don't know, roll with it. So it's like really weird and yellow, and then all of a sudden I'm getting out the yellow paint, and I know people hate the color yellow, and I'm freaking out because they're all gonna, okay, so we just have to calm down, take a couple breaths, stop replaying those past occurrences, and then when you're away from situations after socializing, not letting yourself fantasize about how you're going to fix future social situations and how what your next actions will look like, or your next way that you'll seduce people into liking you. This will only spur you down into more self-condemning, self-judging, self-hating, critical thoughts, and paralyze us rather than spur us into life more. It really like keeps you from feeling, it alienates you, it isolates you, and keeps you from being part of the pack and having friends and being part of like what's going on. No one is looking at it that deeply as you. No one is like hyper analyzing you like that except for yourself. So you need to realize you gotta stop analyzing the past, stop analyzing yourself in the room, and stop thinking about the future as like a way to fix kind of how you've messed up your life or whatever, when you really haven't. Okay, great, getting there, guys. 2 more. So number 4, see if I have enough room. Number 4, live in the now without caring what others think. Okay. Live the now without caring what others think. This one is fairly short. You are relevant in the here and now with whatever crazy words you want to say, whatever out of left field statement you want to bring up. You're honest. I don't know where I'm going. I don't have everything together. I'm not perfect. I wish I was perfect. Being completely real and honest in the moment without caring how anyone's going to perceive it is incredibly powerful for you as an INFP. If you're able to just be in a moment and just kind of let go of what others think of you and just say it, girl, say what you want to say, I think you're going to start to see how relevant you are and how much of the time people actually do understand you. And if they don't understand you, it doesn't mean that you're not their friend and you don't treat it that situation, that you can't connect with them, or that the next time you rephrase it or say it in another conversation, they won't get what you mean. Yeah, keep that one in mind. All right, quick, good. I like that. 5. Let's roll into 5. Gently follow your speculations. Okay. So, gently follow your speculations. So, this one is great because we, as INFPs, we're strongly intuitive, and so we can kind of see very deeply into things, into social situations. And so, like, this is even true of romance. I don't know if this has happened to you guys, but if you guys have ever liked a guy or girl and you've kind of read into it and been like, oh my gosh, like, that time that guy or that girl did this, like, oh my gosh, they like me. And then you kind of, like, ended up getting closer to them and, like, flirting more, and then you're like, oh my gosh, you didn't like me. I totally misread that. And then you spiral into another shame, like, circle or whatever. Like, what did I do wrong? I need to fix my future I need to convince the person that I'm normal, and oh my gosh, no, I'm crazy. So I've totally done this. It sucks. But what the good news is, it goes back to number 2 and number 1, accepting yourself and accepting your bad habits and mistakes, because the reality is everybody makes those same mistakes. Like, everybody. It doesn't matter if you're an INFP, it doesn't matter who you are. Everyone misreads a situation, thinks it means something else when to the other person it didn't. So just know that it's okay if that happens, and it's totally fine. The one thing that I would give as advice to protect yourself, to make yourself wise in those situations, is just knowing that your speculations or your intuition or what you feel like maybe people are thinking about you, especially if it comes to romance, don't always cling to those as completely for sure true, because there's always a chance that it's not certain. We can't say that our intuition gives us absolute certainty. There's no fact behind it. There's no real world proof that's exactly what that person felt, unless they're blatantly saying, you know, I like you, or like, I don't know, I don't like that person, she's weird, you know? Those are, our speculations are definitely our superpower, and they help us, but they are not absolute certainty. So hold those speculations compassionately and hold them dearly, and see your own side, see how you see that, and just make sure as you're holding them dearly and compassionately, you also hold them loosely, because we do not know the surprises that life will throw at us when you're like, what, you didn't think that this whole time? And so just have that humility. Don't get too cocky, don't think for sure, you know. Just always know your intuition could be wrong, even though you're super smart and super powerful, and like probably more than half of the time are right, but you don't know for sure. And that's what happened to me, and it sucks, and it's a little embarrassing, but yeah. And if it happens, that's okay, you know. You just forgive the past, for your mistakes, you let go, and you keep living in the moment. So I would say the biggest thing is to go, this is like a takeaway from all of it, so like these are the 5 tips if you want to review real quick. Accept yourself, forgive the past and your bad habits, girl. Gently guide yourself away from self-judgment. Live in the now without caring what others think. Gently follow your speculations. Don't assume. But I also would say the main, like, if that was all too much and, you know, you don't have the patience right now, you're just too frustrated, too hurt, whatever, I totally get it. If you want just one takeaway, I would say focus mainly on number 3, just go into social situations, and the moment you start dwelling on the past, thinking about what others are thinking of you or reading into you, just turn that part of yourself off and say, no, I am me exactly as I am, and no one is hyperanalyzing me. I don't need to prove to anybody anything, and I don't need to fix my mistakes in the past. I don't need to, I don't know, be a better person all of a sudden in 2 seconds in this room, in this moment, and hide all of my weaknesses and make me look a lot better than I am. I don't know if you guys related with any of this, and I'm sorry if like the disorganization of my video bugged you, because I don't really ever make these, but I just really wanted to share, because I was online about INFPs, and it's just like a really hard world. A lot of NFs, I feel like, struggle with a lot of this stuff, and yeah, I love you guys, I feel for you guys, and I wanted to give a resource or something, share what I've learned. Yeah, trying to bring all my ideas into the world more. It's one of the things that it's hard for an INFP, but I was so happy to finally make this and challenge myself to do it. So, have an amazing Sunday, and maybe I'll catch you next time. I don't know if this will be a regular thing or not, so catch you later. Bye.